milk from India, you bring it to the UK, you put 5% per bottle, add 95% water. Because it's more than 90% English because of the water, you can say it's English milk. Right, now, so what...
Is that happening?
Yeah, well, it was. The supermarkets, what they were doing is, if you look into supermarket packaging, here's a classic for you. If you go into a supermarket, go into any supermarket and have a look at the packaging, something that's British, and it will tell you it's from Rose Cottage Farm, for instance, okay, or Walnut Tree Estate. Yeah, these places don't exist, right? It's simple as that. And what it is, and I got in a lot of trouble last year. I don't know if you've heard of a guy called Richard Vobes.
Yes.
Right. Richard's a good friend of mine. Richard came to see me and he said, let's do an interview. And one of the things I was talking about was farm washing. Okay. And vegetable washing isn't where you get your vegetables, dip them in water and physically wash them. Washing of anything is when they bring it into the country knowing it's not English, take it to a pack house or a farm, repack it into British packaging, stick a stamp on it to say grown in England, and to say that it was produced on this farm. And Red Tractor have a lot of this going on. And Red Tractor is an organisation that, jumped all over me last year. And what they said to me was, can you prove what you're saying? And I said, well, yes. And they said, well, we don't believe you. We know this doesn't go on, I said, okay, what do you want me to do? Because they were threatening court action. They said, we want you to do an apology video. So I said, okay, no problem. So what I did was said to my audience, I did an 8-minute video, and I said, it's terrible that I made this mistake. And quite clearly, Red Tractor have made it very obvious that this isn't happening in the UK. We have not got food coming in from overseas being packaged in the UK under false packaging, sold under false pretense. That isn't happening.
Okay.
However, if you happen to work on a farm or in a packing plant and you see anything like this going on, please inform Red Tractor so that they can look into it.
Okay.
And 172 people complained in 24 hours that they knew it was going on. They never contacted me again. I think they're still going through the list. Now, it wasn't because I wanted to be clever, it's because I wanted to highlight it.
Of course.
And the same with the milk. Dry powder comes in, add water, then you can call it British, right? It's not British, it's Indian.
Yeah.
Right. And the problem is,
and it's Jade, not even real milk. It's powdered, dehydrated.
The problem is that under British welfare laws, our food is absolutely second to none worldwide. And I mean that. Our farmers have to work to the highest stringent levels of animal care. So for meat, for dairy, you will not get a better product in the world. And I'm going to put a caveat here, if you buy it direct from the farm. Right? Not if you buy it by the supermarket supply chain, because people say, oh, I only have red top milk. I mean, you mean you've got white water? Because every piece of goodness has been taken out of it to achieve another product.
Yeah. Right.
They've taken all the cream out of it, and they've taken the cream out of it.
It just makes me feel...
The cream makes all your cheeses, your yogurts, and your cream. And then what's left? Skimmed milk. Okay, now if we skim it even further, we can give you skimmed milk and white water. This isn't, here's another classic example, right?
Not food, is it?
Well, exactly, right. Here's another classic example. If you want shelf life for food, right, if it's something like flour, you add a preservative, okay? Frolic acid is one of the ones which people have got to keep an eye on at the minute, because they're starting to add that to flour to keep the flour longer, so the bread is now holding folic acid.
Yeah, I've seen that in bread, folic acid in bread.
That will burn your stomach lining, right? It's an acid. It's a bleach component. It will burn your stomach lining. You don't want that in your body, right? So,
gosh.
But if you've got a piece of fruit, what do you do to stop it going bad? Well, let me tell you. Our dear old mate Billy Boy came up with a product which is just genius, really. A product called Appeal, right? If you do your research, it's, I quote, an organic product. Is it hell as light? Look at the chemical breakdown of it. And you coat the fruit in it, and it will keep for up to a year. So, where they used to store, what they used to do was cold store apples over the winter, keep them in big fridges, and have lots of carbon dioxide in there, fill it full of carbon dioxide, so it kept it alive. Right? Because it's the problem is when you take away the carbon dioxide, it starts to decay.
Right.
But now they just coat it in this Appeal. You can cut an apple, it'll be rotten on the inside, because it rots from the inside out.
I've seen that.
And on the outside looks perfect. You go, well, how did it? Well, that's because it's coated. Now, if you look on lemons, you either get wax coated lemons, or there's a new coating they just started putting on lemons. Begins with I think it's called Tasmalia or something. Tamsalia, Tamsalia, I think it is. And that's a synthetic product that they can put on what they deem as organic. That lemon will still be good in a year's time. Right? That ain't good for your body. Let me tell you that stuff's not good for your body. Now, here's one for you, Jade. We see in the British supermarkets a leg of English lamb is worth £80, right? A leg of New Zealand lamb is worth £40. Now, we know that's because that's been subsidised by the New Zealand government to get it here at that price. Now, Jade, let me ask you a question. New Zealand's a long way away. And meat is something that decays. How do you think, for speed and time and resilience, they get the lamb legs from New Zealand to England without them going bad?
I really don't know.
Do you think they fly it, bring it by ship? What do you think they do? Because, and the reason you're looking at it going, I've never thought about it.
No, I've
nor has
never
anybody
thought
else.
about it.
Here's the issue, right?
Yeah.
So you could say, well, they just put it on a plane and fly it within 24 hours, Mark. That's easy. But they don't. They sail it here over the course of 3 months.
What?
Right.
So
they dip legs of lamb in massive vats of liquid carbon dioxide to keep it fresh, right? When it gets here and it's taken out, the decay is real quick. So if you go to a supermarket and buy, or no, let's not say a supermarket, let's say you go to a supermarket and buy some New Zealand lamb, and you go to a butcher and buy a leg of British lamb, the leg of British lamb in 2 weeks' time will still be perfect, and the New Zealand lamb will be rotten because it's already 3, if not 6 months old. Now, every piece of food what travels around the world, right, is coated in something to make it last. Right. Here's a classic. If you've got grapes that would be black grapes, for instance, and at the point you pick them off the vine to eat them, and you pick them and they're nice and hard and crunchy, and you pick them and you go, oh, the taste, the flavour, wow, that's beautiful. When it's at that point, it's too late to ship it. Okay? So what they do is they pick them stone green.
You're right, yeah.
When they're at the right size, they pick them stone green, dip them in acid to turn the skins red, coat them in a white dust that makes them look all nice and sparkly and crispy in the box.
Yeah.
Pack them in carbon dioxide filled rooms, 40-foot containers, and then ship it all around the world. Right? Oh, invasion going on a helicopter.
And that's meant to,
and that
and
is
that's
how,
meant to be safe food. That feeds
and
us.
we look at it and we go in the supermarket and go, oh wow, guys, the fruit and veg in here is superb. Well, it want to be. It's been coated in so much shit it can't go bad.
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's meat,
Yeah.
if it's cheese, if it's dairy products, whatever it is. If it's not local from the UK, it's got some kind of chemical added to it or on it to preserve it.
And so why is the government not creating an incentive for British food to be in their own supermarkets? And, you know, I would have thought, wouldn't that have been more economically cheaper than flying stuff or shipping stuff from around the world and paying for chemicals and fertilizers and all the other stuff?
The reason, right, Jade, the reason they're not doing that is because if they can break our food supply chain so we're reliant 100% on it coming in from overseas,
the deliberate target on the food chain, then.
And then when you want to take away the food supply chain, you can turn it off overnight. Just stop food coming in the country.
Right.
Now, what people also don't know is around the world now, there is lots of countries, big producers of food, let's say South America, India, Pakistan, Russia, places like that, that are starting to put bans on the export of their food. Okay. And the reason they're starting to do that is not because they want to piss off the British or any other country that's importing their food. They're starting to understand the relevance of the self-preservation. Okay. Okay? Yeah. So they're starting to realise there's an agenda. They're starting to realise that if they don't protect their own people, they'll have carnage on their own streets. If that carnage happens in another country, that's not their problem. But what they don't want to do is have it happen on their own soil. So those who are standing up against the worldwide nonsense, you know, Poland particularly, Hungary, Italy, are massively clamping down on what's been exported out because they're starting to realise what's going on. Okay. USA, since Bobby Kennedy's come into power out there on the food side, working with people like Joel Salatin, they're starting to understand what needs to happen to put the food supply back to a credible organisation, you know, because at this point in time, in the UK, DEFRA dictates what happens with our food. Yeah. There isn't one person in DEFRA at a high level who's ever stepped foot onto a farm, I can assure you. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So DEFRA's never going to step in to help the farmers because they're Whitehall through and through. Yeah. They need to all be gone and all be replaced with ex-farmers. Yeah. Right? People from the industry. Yeah. Fishing industry. Here's a classic. I've been working. No, you don't know what fish to buy anymore. Right. I mean, I'll tell you something. I've been working with Ben Habib. I don't know if you know who Ben is. Ben used to be with Reform. He set up his own party called Advance UK. Okay. And Ben said to me, Mark, along with some of the other people, you know, I contacted them and I said, look, could I work together with you guys to start looking at an agricultural policy for the UK? So that's one of the things that I've been working on, is to be able to hand this to them and say, look, this is what the agricultural side needs. I tried to talk to Reform weren't interested, tried to talk to other parties, no one's interested. Now, and as I say, I'm doing this to be able to present this to Ben and the Advance Party. And the reason I want to be able to do that is because when I started looking into it, obviously I know about the food and farming side, but then I went to talk to people from the fishery side. God, yeah. I nearly died. Yeah. So we obviously, we know that Keir Starmer has just taken the liberty of giving our fishing rights away again back to Europe. Yeah. And I said talking to the guys, and they said, do you know, to put one fishing trawler on the water would cost £5 million. Oh my God. £5 million. Now, we can look at that. Now, there was probably 80,000 fishing boats in the UK 100 years ago. Now we have a handful, literally a handful. For us to put our fishing industry back together, we need a massive investment. That investment should come from DEFRA. They've got the money every year to subsidise farming, but they don't. What they do is now subsidise bullshit that doesn't need subsidising. You know, we've got to have a woke agenda, for instance. You know, we've got to have, you know, diversity and equality. Yeah. Please. What we really need is surely above anything. And I don't care what anyone's personal preferences are, right? But what I do care about is, am I going to get fed tonight? Because that means everything to me.
Yeah, good food, good food, good food.
Now, while we're talking about the fish side,
Mm.
I am someone who has shied away, coming from a commercial farming background, has shied away from alternative farming in the past. And my tour taught me so much. And when I was talking earlier about the electroculture, how you could bring electroculture in,
Right.
Permaculture, you know, the horticultural side of things, where you can grow massive amounts of soil, start adding these groups together. You can grow massive amounts of real good quality food in a small, dense area. Then the other evening, I took a call from a guy who follows me on social media, and he said, Mark, would you be up for a call? And this guy is into aquaponics and hydroponics.
Okay.
But aquaponics, hydroponics is where you grow food predominantly in water.
Okay.
Aquaponics is when you grow them in fish water. So you grow your fish in the bottom, and you use that water and that fertilizer, that manure and what's in that water to feed the nutrition into your plants.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And I said, look, I'm going to be honest with you, Francis. I said, from my side, this has never appealed to me. I've never wanted to look into it. I tried it. Yeah, I could grow the stuff, but I needed to add, you know, so much vitamins, minerals to the water and so forth. He said, well, that's why hydroponics, you know, is one of the problems with it, is if you've got water quality in this country isn't very good because we've got so much fluoride and so much microplastics and all the other tripe. So how do we get around that? So what they've been looking at and working on between lots of different people around the country is a desalination plant. So they can take seawater, take the salt out of it, and turn it into a really good quality water that they can then use for the fish. Now, again, something I didn't know. And this is where you go to people with real knowledge and they blow your mind. If we know in this country that saltwater fish come from the sea, freshwater fish come from the land water. Yeah. And you can't produce the two. Well, actually, under the system they're using, you can. So you have your salt-based water sits at the bottom and your clear water sits at the top. So the different fish who want different things from the water keep to their own. There's like an imaginary barrier, and they can do that. Yeah. All of that water is then recycled around the plants to feed the plants. Nice. And they use, so you've got good quality fish that are produced in good quality water, not shit seawater what's got full of chemicals.
Organic, natural system.
Exactly. Right? So they're doing this and they're putting in these new systems. So what we've been looking at is, okay, well, from my side, where I'm talking about a 3-acre site growing 30 tonne of food, an acre, what would that look like? You know, if we could grow under plastic, could we extend the growing season? Well, we know, if you go back to Victorian times, when they had orangeries had a heating system in them, and they grew oranges, lemons, pineapples, bananas in the UK in Victorian times. Gosh, right. But we don't do it now because we don't need to import it, right? However, so on this whirlwind tour we got to see the electroculture, the aquaponics, and one of the other things I got to see, as well as polytunnels, was polycarbonate tunnels. And these are completely different. So these are a hard, thick 6 or 8, 10 mil plastic that in a dome shape that you can then grow under all times of the year. So obviously it doesn't get frost. So unlike a polytunnel, the minute it gets below zero, nothing grows. Yeah. Yeah. And it's really easy to heat these tunnels. So farmers started thinking about putting these tunnels in. Yes, they're expensive, but the opportunities are exponential because if strawberries are worth 10 pence a pound in the summer, they're worth £2 a pound in the winter. Yeah. So what farmers, and I see this is where we're going. We're going to see community farms that have hydroponics and aquaponics producing local fish, local vegetables as a result of what's grown in that water. We're going to see good quality soil reproduced on the small acreages. Which will come about by having farm animals back on that land, getting lots of nutrition put back into the soil.
Yeah.
And that will produce really good quality, nutritional, dense soil.
But Mark, I'm just wondering how's the government going to allow this? I mean, it sounds absolutely fantastic, but are they going to allow this? You know,
Like I said earlier in the first section to this, with a new government comes new policies. What we need to do is get a government in place what's going to want to change the policies. At this point, we don't have one. We do not have a political party in the system that wants to see that change because they're all bought and paid for. They're all part of the system.
Yeah.
They're all being paid by corrupt politicians are being paid by big organisations.
But
and
is
that
that going
has
to
to stop.
change? Do you think? I mean, I'm not sure. How do we get around that in the future? Because that's just been a forever cycle.
I think one of the problems we have, Jade, is the fact that at this point in time, how many new people go into Parliament? Right? You've got people in there that you might have some genuinely good people in there, but the majority of them have been in there for 10, 20 years, and they just change the colour of the uniform. Oh, I don't want to be with the Labour Party anymore. I'm going to go to the Conservatives. I'm now leaving the Conservatives. I'm going to Reform. No, what we need is new blood inside Parliament. What can only stay one term. And what we need to do is make sure that at the end of that term, somebody replaces them. That's what we need to do. So they don't get a chance to get that corruption embedded into it. What we need to make sure is that corruption's removed. And I think the only way we can do that is to put new people into Parliament. And I say, yes, I've got my views on who I think should be in Parliament. We've had March UK and Ben, because he's coming from a completely different stance. He's looking at this from the point of he wants to see all the people in Parliament as new.
Yeah.
You know, he's not so interested in people bringing big audiences with him. He's interested in real people, people like me, you, coming to the table and saying, well, actually, I just don't agree with that.
I mean, I hope we can make that happen. It would be a dream come true,
Wouldn't it?
wouldn't it?
Now, what are the other options? We have a civil war.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've no idea
and how
what's
many
going
people,
on in this
let's be honest, Jade.
Unless we all wake up. Yeah.
Be honest.
Yeah.
How many people at this point in time in this country believe we're not too far away from that?
Yeah, I mean, those are in the know are waiting to change, aren't they? Yeah.
And so if we want to stop our country sliding towards that, right, I don't want to see bloodshed on our streets, that's for sure. For me, we need to address certain things. And one of those things is food.
Yeah, I mean,
because that's going to be the quickest thing to kick us off against each other.
Of course, and the food is poisoning people, isn't it? I mean, it's causing all kind of psychological imbalances in young people.
Yeah.
It's the root cause of all behavior problems, and if people aren't being fed properly, we're not healthy, balanced population. We're not thinking straight. We're not sleeping. We're not, all sorts of disorders.
Jade, I don't know what age you are. I'm 57. For me, I'm at the point in my life where I now look at kids and they're so dysfunctional in comparison to what we were.
Yeah.
Right? And yes, I understand a lot of that is probably because they're holding onto phones and electronic items a lot of the time, and I get that, and we all do now. But a lot of that is down to what they're eating, or more importantly, what they're not eating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's where, if you're going to live on KFC, if you're going to live on McDonald's, if you're going to live on Pizza Hut,
and what they call cereal these days.
Cereal. I mean,
I know.
I'll tell you a little story. The only reason 100 years ago Kellogg started making breakfast cereals was because they'd been feeding, sweet corn, or maize. They'd been feeding it to the animals, and the animals started getting sick. So they had to take it away from the animals, and they didn't then know what to do with it. So they rolled it and sold it to us as a breakfast cereal. What's it got in it? Nothing. It's got no nutritional value. Now,
it's terrible.
The reason they told you that it was good for you was because when we used to serve breakfast cereal, you used to serve it 100 years ago with raw milk and honey. So the raw milk and the honey gave you the goodness. That's what your body got out of it. It filled you up. And the raw milk gave you all your vitamins and minerals and all your honey. Now what do you have? Synthetic sugar, white water, and breakfast cereal. Nothing
And
in
it's
there what's any
doused in
good for you.
sugar and chocolate and colouring and all sorts of nonsense.
And that's where we are now. So that's
it's
in my
terrible.
lifetime how things have changed.
Yeah, it's terrible.
You know, so when we look at, you know, we travelled the country in a camper van, and if we wanted to find food, good quality food, we would have to use our website to find where the nearest farm shop was, right? Because farm shops normally set up farm tracks tucked out of the way. Farmers are really good at producing food. They're not good at marketing strategies.
Yeah, well, that's not their job, is it? They're farmers.
You know, but when you take Tesco's, what they're particularly good at, no, don't just say Tesco's, all the supermarkets as a whole, their particular thing is they're very good at marketing to the public.
Of course, yeah.
Right? That's what they were good at. Now, it doesn't matter what shit you sell the public as long as you're good at marketing it.
Of course.
Farmers have got a good product but don't know how to market it.
Yeah.
So what we've got to do is, and that's where I believe what we've set up with the CIC, so we set up the Community Interest Foundation, and that's what runs the Food Finders. And what that is there to achieve is to bring about the awareness of where to find good quality food locally. Okay?
Yeah.
For me, that's the important bit. We can become effectively the marketing arm for small farmers, bakers, butchers, greengrocers, fishmongers. You know, that's where we come into play.
Yeah.
The local mill who produces,
desperately needed. Desperately
absolutely
needed.
So for me, that's where my passion sits, in that making people aware of where the food supply is.
Yeah.
You know, as in the food chain, where it is at this point in time with a, you know, not in a very nice quality food, where it is, how vulnerable it is. You know, we need food sovereignty. We need food security. They're the two biggest things we need as a country.
Yeah.
And we need good quality food is the third thing. And that's the thing that brings really the whole of this together, Jade, is that we are in a position at the moment, we're in a very vulnerable position as a country and as a world population of where the food is at the moment. I've got friends who have gone out and bought a small acreage of 5, 10, 15 acres of land and have a full-time job. And then say to me, yeah, but it doesn't matter, because when the system crumbles, I've got the land, I'm going to go and grow my own food. So, okay. Have you ever grown food before?
Yeah,
No.
so I'm thinking that's not an easy job, is it?
And they say, no. I say, have you got the seed, the organic heritage seed tucked away somewhere safe? No. Do you think when the food system crashes, you're going to be able to get those things? Yeah, of course. It's part of the food supply chain. You're not going to be able to get that stuff, you know? I would suggest to anybody, and I genuinely mean this, if I could leave anybody with any information today, it would be this. If you have the ability to grow at home, start growing.
Oh yeah,
right. And I mean, even if you
do it with
London,
potatoes now, we just put the potato in the soil in the bag, and that's it.
That's it.
That's all we have to do. We don't even touch it.
And even in the city, there is things you can do, right?
Yeah, that's what we do on the balcony.
And the other thing is, whatever you do, start stockpiling food. I cannot emphasize this enough. Even if it's what I'm going to deem as second-rate food, tinned food, for instance, frozen, you know, pre-packed, dried food, get that in, because
you think there's going to be a crisis?
Do I what? Sorry. Do
you think there's going to be a big crisis then?
I think it's going to be a huge crisis.
Yeah.
Inside the next 3 to 6 months.
Really, 3 to 6?
Okay. Yeah. And I don't think it'll be any longer, right? And the reason I say that, and it might take a year, 18 months, and the reason I say is we're already seeing the culling of the animals. That's taking massive amounts of food out of the food supply chain, right? Exports are dropping because the prices of food worldwide, shipping is going up.
Yeah.
Farmers are demanding they want more money, so food what was being produced overseas, what's now got to come to not just the UK, but got to move around the planet. Cost of moving, it's getting too expensive.
Yeah.
Farmers can't grow food anymore because of the aluminium damage to the soil. Again, this isn't a UK thing. I'm talking friends worldwide who are on this. Now, on that note, let me tell you something about the difference between growing chemically produced food on aluminium doused soil, okay, unless you've got the resilient seeds, you can't grow in it. That's where we're getting to. But you still need synthetic fertilizers and all the other nasty chemicals to make it grow. Now, backtrack. That's dead soil. If you've got really good quality, densely, nutritionally organic soil that's full of mycelium, if the aluminium falls on it, the aluminium is eaten by the mycelium and turned into a compound aluminium that the plant can absorb and use to its benefit, not its detriment.
Okay.
Okay. So that's the difference of why we're pushing farmers to try and start getting more animals on the land. For instance, WEF want all animals gone. Well, of course they do, because it repairs soil. Yes, it removes it from the food supply chain, but the other side is it repairs the soil.
How can you bloody have an agenda to remove all animals? That's just so unnatural, isn't it? It's just,
these people are fucking deluded. Jade, they're completely deluded. This is not, you know, people can, and I don't care, anyone, research this. Please, I say to anybody, go and research this. Don't take, you know, I'm just a crazy guy with his great-granddad's bowler hat, for God's sake. You know, what do I know? Go and research this stuff. That's how I've learned this stuff. I've gone and researched, and I've dug, and I've dug, and I've dug. And I've spoken to farmers. I've spoken to people in the food industry. I've spoken to, you know, bakers who say, now, unless I use this raising agent, the flour don't work. Well, why? When you get it broken down, you find this wood in it. You know, there's sawdust in it. Jade, everything. If you take, you know, kids love tomato sauce, salad cream, mayonnaise. Go and look at the ingredients. You wouldn't eat it if your life depended on it. You know, anything at all, what you go into a supermarket and buy that's in a packet has been deliberately manufactured to get the most amount of profit out of it, not the best quality food. Remember that. This is only about value for them, not for us.
And it's all artificial. And this thing, rapeseed oil as well.
That's what I say. As one of the 6 things we produce in the UK.
I mean, I didn't grow up with this on the shelf.
Of course you didn't. Do you know why it was originally designed?
Yeah, why?
It was originally designed to make a cheap product to put in engines to make the lubricant for oil instead of like using Castrol GTX. Moving parts could, you know, like your WD-40, they could use rapeseed oil because it was nice and runny under heat, and it would get into all the small places. And then they started making synthetics oil. They didn't need it, so they didn't know what to do with it, so they put it in the food supply chain. We were told as children fluoride was good for our teeth. Fluoride is the biggest thing what dissolves teeth in the world.
Yeah.
You know,
since I stopped using fluoride, my teeth health has gotten better. I've never had a filling off. I've never had a filling, and I've not used fluoride in the last 15 years.
It was all the sweets we ate when we were kids. It's bollocks.
Yeah.
All of our parents were told fluoride's the answer, you know, and milk. But where's the milk? Not good quality milk. We were taught that synthetic shit milk is acceptable.
Yeah.
No, it ain't. You know, you go, my parents, oh my God, my mum loves boxed milk, you know, she'll go and get that stuff, and I would drive an hour and a half to find a fucking farm that's got its own dairy and buy raw milk, and, you know, my parents will have boxed milk. How did we end up here? They didn't grow up. You know, my mum's dad was a dairy farmer.
Different generations were targeted, weren't they?
Yeah, you know, my mum's dad was a dairy farmer, so how on earth did we end up here?
Yeah.
And this is when you see how the targeting, like you say,
it's like the millennials, you know, below us. They're so technology orientated. I mean, they're very different to our generation. In the box, totally in the box. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And then the ones beneath that actually a bit more open-minded.
It's interesting because I've got a 10-year-old and he questions everything.
Right.
And that came about. He came to stay with me one Christmas, and his phone went flat, so I chucked in my mobile. Of course, he was on YouTube, and YouTube algorithms obviously give you what you normally search for, don't they? And after a few hours, he came and said to me, he said, "Can I ask you a question?" I said, "Yes, man." He said, "Do you think man ever landed on the moon?" I said, "No." So why did you ask that? He said, "Well, I just watched the video." He said, and then went to school and questioned it with the teacher. And then, you know, when the teacher wanted to teach him about the pyramids is where they buried the pharaohs, and he said that isn't true, miss, and she wasn't very impressed. But for him, he wants to challenge the system because he's got a young brain, and he's not. And I think they're the next level. They're the dangerous ones because they're the ones that have grown up having the ability. Like when you and I were kids, if we wanted to challenge anything, like when I was told about the 2030 agenda, the internet didn't even exist.
Right.
So for me, I had to go away into libraries and research and look in the newspapers and pull out these little clippings and think to myself, why are they saying that?
Yeah.
And then do the research to try and find out who funded them. And now you can find all this out in seconds. It isn't difficult for people to be a journalist. Let's face it. But the journalists no longer report on the truth. Right. And this is where I said to you earlier, I think the food and farming industry as a whole really, really needs to embrace new media. And one of the things that I've said through the CIC that
coming directly from the source, aren't you?
Absolutely. One of the things I've said through the CIC that we want to be able to fund in the future is new media. We want to be able to help channels like your own in the future to be able to continue, because people do all this and people have no idea what's involved in doing interviews.
Wouldn't it be brilliant if you actually had a farming channel? That'd be fantastic. Yeah, because completely sovereign channel for farming, independent farming,
and not just farming. I have to say, Jade, everything you look at now, for us with the CIC, we're concentrating on 4 particular areas. So, food and farming, health and nutrition, education, and new media. As a country, we've lost our way.
Oh, totally.
Right? When I was a kid, if I was naughty, I got smacked. As a result of getting smacked, I learnt right from wrong. I'm not saying kids.
It's illegal now to do anything to discipline your own kids.
And I don't think that children need beating. Don't get me wrong. I was never beat. Did I get smacked around the back of the head if I was naughty? Yes.
Yes.
Did it teach me right from wrong? Yes. Did I do that to my kids? Yes. Do they do it to their kids? Yes, probably. And the reason I say it is because I know, looking down the generations,
that you're on the right path. Yeah.
One of my pet hates is litter, and this comes back to what I was saying about removing litter.
The same for me. I can't.
Jade, if you walk around the cities now, the cities are just filth. I've never seen nothing like it. We drove around the country, and most of the countryside's not too bad, still there, but not as bad as the cities and the motorways. Jesus, and that's we've got to get back to some real values in our country. The family unit used to be the biggest part of our country. There was a mum, there was a dad, there was the kids.
All over the world, they're targeting the home, aren't they?
Exactly.
They're targeting the family unit everywhere. We see it all over the world. They're trying to effectively trying to take children away from very early on under the authority of parents. Yeah.
And also, when they achieved the value of money changed in the 70s, and suddenly mum and dad couldn't afford both not to work. Kids had to become latch keys and let themselves in and out of school and get themselves. Mum had to go and do a part-time job. She'd drop them at school, go and do a part-time job, come home. That led to a full-time job. That led to mum not cooking anymore, good quality food. So they went on to processed food. So it's all integral.
It's all part of the agenda.
And you can look at it now and you can think to yourself, wow, where the hell are we now on all of this? Whilst that's slightly off track, it isn't.
No, it's all part of the same thing, isn't it?
That breakdown of society has led to litter. That's led to poor quality soil. That's led to poor quality food. The mum not being in the kitchen has led to poor quality food. That's led to poor quality nutrition. That's led to all these things are interconnected.
A lack of care, basically, a lack of care in the world. Yeah, they've completely eroded care. I was talking about this last night. There isn't as much care in the world, is there? No, at all.
But do you know what? And I say this to everybody, Jade, and I 100% mean this. We live in a country at the moment what's a whirlwind of shite, right? However, we did a 7-month tour, my partner and I. We travelled the length and breadth and depth of this country. There was not 1 second, and I mean not 1 second, where we ever felt in danger, ever felt that the country didn't want us to be doing what we were doing. There wasn't a second we moved. You know, we were invited into people's homes to have dinner, to stay, to shower. You know, whether we stayed in the camper van in people's houses, people put us up and paid for us for hotels, bed and breakfast.
Oh, that's wonderful.
You know, we slept in. We was in Yorkshire, this beautiful place, and the girl had got this new, you know, bell tent delivered with a cooker and everything, you know, stove in it, which they let us have. Everyone just looked after us 100%. So whilst there is all this turmoil in our beautiful little country, go out there and actually introduce yourself to people, talk to people.
Totally.
And I'll tell you one of the things, Jade, which really frustrates me, and you see this massively in the cities more so than the countryside. If you walk down a street and have eye contact with someone, they think you're a fucking weirdo, right? If you say morning, people go, what do you mean? Who are you? I don't know you. In the country, we say good morning to everybody, and everybody says, oh, morning. It's not so nice today, is it? You know, what do you reckon about this? And you get talking. And we've had that removed.
Yeah.
And we need to, and I say again, I'm not talking about religion, creed, colour, anything. Common courtesy towards another human being is not hard to come by.
No.
Just to say morning, and you know, I had a lady the other day. I was walking down the street, and I said, "Don't know this lady." It's walking up, and I'd got a box of fruit and veg on my head. I'd been to market early in the morning. Came walking down the street, and the lady, I said, "Oh, morning." She said, and the lady looked at me. She said, "You're the first person who said good morning to me in months."
Wow.
And I said, "Isn't that sad?" I said, "Well, just to let you know," I said, "I love your dress," and I turned around and walked away. She stood there smiling, right? That probably made her day. How much does it really cost to do these things? Nothing, you know. But we've got to get people to understand is this isn't just about food. My campaign, you know,
what's happened there is the government have come in and they've, you know, they've separated people on so many levels, haven't they? To the point where we don't even talk to each other anymore on the streets. So
Jade, I genuinely
breaking that down.
Yeah, I genuinely believe this is a war on our souls at the minute.
I'm with you there. Yeah.
I'm gonna, and I'll tell you something, Jade. I grew up in a house that is not religious, right? My partner is coming from Nigeria, very religious, very much into religion, and I'm going to say religion rather than what I believe in faith. Now, Gloria believes in God. She believes in her faith, but she believes in religion.
Yeah.
And as far as I'm concerned, religion is turning up at church on a Sunday and putting your £5 in the box to prove you are going to do your.
Oh. We've lost Mark again.
Gloria's belief is the religious side of things, and she understands going to church will get her closer to God, right?
Yeah.
For me, I grew up in a family that didn't really go to church, let's say, but I went to Sunday school, and I always believed that there was something greater than me.
Yeah.
Call it God, call it the universe, call it whatever. I believe there was something greater than me achieved all this, because I can't believe that this happened by chance, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And as I travelled the country, I soon came to realise that on a spiritual side, that I was a lot more connected to the planet and my faith than what I originally thought I was.
Right.
Because at every opportunity where the shit show we were living in should have had a chance to affect us, goodness came into our lives, and we were blessed by what happened.
Yeah.
Right? And we definitely had a point, we were travelling down through Lincolnshire, and there was a point where a lorry swerved on the road to miss the car in front of him, but came onto my side of the road, and we'd travelled for about 8 miles, and all there was these huge, great big water dikes down the side of us, and I had nowhere to go but on the curb, and I thought, well, we're going in the ditch, and at that one point, there was about 30 foot of bank, which we went up, the lorry passed, we got back down again, and that was 8 to 10 miles of ditches, which were 30, 40 foot deep.
Gosh.
And something at that particular point was there to look after, and I had so many opportunities of that. And I'm not a religious person, but what I do think is that if you're doing the work, what is seen to be good, then something, I don't know what it is, God, universe, whatever, will look after you. And I think that's where we are at this point in time. But that, I think, is very much a spiritual war what's on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
as
you've
a
got to
result
do
of
the
that,
right thing. Do the right thing. Absolutely.
and I say to anybody,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
there's lots of people out there in a minute, and people say to me, "Oh, you're ever so brave talking out about why? What, brave or stupid? I don't know." But if someone doesn't talk out about this stuff, it continues. Something's got to be done,
You have to speak up.
and you've got to
Absolutely.
speak your truth.
You
You know,
have to
you've
speak your
got to
truth.
speak your
I
truth.
agree. I agree with you.
Right, and that's, I think, where a lot of people have, over the years, politicians especially, let's be honest,
Yeah.
have been very good at not speaking their truth.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know,
Absolutely. Well, they're
but
just told what to say, aren't they?
exactly,
That's like news
and this is where I see the
broadcasters.
change needs to come in Parliament.
Yeah, yeah. I
So
think that's a wonderful place to wrap up, actually, speaking your truth and coming out and being genuine to yourself and authentic. Um, that is the holistic way to change and to get back to normal. Well, I say normal, but
yeah,
I like to say the source, the original vibration of everything. So yeah, stepping out of the fabricated world and coming back into yourself. Mark, thank you so much for your fantastic energy, as I like to call it, if pouring out with energy, pouring out with knowledge, information, passion, and life. You know, you're full of wonderful juices coming out, and it's fantastic. It is fantastic. I've learned so much, and I really hope we can share all this information with as many people as possible.
that's what it's all about. We've got to share the truth, and
Yeah.
that's only going to come out because of people like you, Jade, that have got the braveness to step up. And I have to say that for new media is definitely where we need to be. And this word only gets out because of the courtesy of people like yourself giving me time. At the end of the day, you know, my audience is my audience. So, you know, how do I get into a new audience? That's only going to happen by people like you being part of this journey. So, yeah.
Oh, brilliant. It's the organic system, isn't it?
Big time.
Connecting.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you so much. I'm sure with your wealth of information, we'll have you back on talking about something else. And then progress. I'm really want to see your movement progress. I'd love to see it massively on a national and global level. That would just
We've had 80 people sign up to volunteer in a week.
oh, it's fantastic.
That just goes to show how the people are ready for change.
Yeah,
You know, right through from litter picking to helping on a farm, whatever it might be, they're coming forward and wanting to get involved. So yeah, that's where the future is.
Yeah.
You
Bring it
know,
all back home.
community. Yeah.